Welcome. Come on, man. I'm trying to do an intro here. Yeah, keep it down a little. Welcome to the Underdark. Welcome back, guys, for another lore discussion video. Today we're going to talk about the Underdark, which will possibly, and I want to say likely, be a place that we will visit on our Baldur's Gate 3 journey. We'll talk about what the Underdark is, what monsters and races we might come across while down there, and also how it might tie into the story. Larian Studios has hinted multiple times that the Underdark will likely be a place that we will visit. And it's important to note, guys, that the main antagonist, or one of the main antagonists of Baldur's Gate 3 so far seems to be the Mind Flayers, which do dwell and live on other planes of existence, but they also live in the Underdark on the planet of Toril. Also, in some of Larian's studio update videos, we see the owner of Larian paying special attention to a creature known as the Beholder, which is also a creature of the Underdark. Let's get right into it. The story of Baldur's Gate 3 will be around 100 years after Baldur's Gate 2, which would put it around 1492 DR, or Dal Reckoning. This is in the middle of the 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons timeline, which is not lacking in Underdark activity. In the Rage of Demons storyline, we saw 8 demon lords move into the Underdark, creating even more chaos in this dark and mysterious place. It's quite possible that this could be going on during the events of Baldur's Gate 3, or it could be recently in the past. Either way, it gives easy access to add elements to the story that will be in Baldur's Gate 3. So what is the Underdark? The Underdark is a vast network of caverns and tunnels underneath the surface of the planet of Toril, and most certainly underneath the surface of Faerun, which is the continent where Baldur's Gate is located. The Underdark is home to a host of mostly evil beings, which include the Drow race, the Mind Flayers, and the Beholders. Don't think of it as one giant cavern, more so as a network of caverns and caves, many of which are not easily accessible to one another, if not accessible at all. The Underdark is divided into several domains, similar to that of what we call continents on the surface world. This underground landscape varies from small subterranean spaces to wide expanses of deep water with coral caves, to hollowed out sections of ice. One thing that the places of the Underdark have in common is darkness, suspense, and fear. Adventuring through the Underdark as a surface dweller is extremely dangerous, not only because of the creatures who dwell there, but also because it's maze-like. There are very few sources of light that you will come across, the most common being that of fluorescent fungi. The native species of the Underdark would have highly developed senses other than sight, or they will have dark vision, which, as you could guess, is being able to see in the dark. So if Larian Studios drafts us into going into the Underdark, what creatures will we likely encounter? Well, Drow are a given, for they are perhaps the most established, organized race down there, and you might even be playing as a Drow yourself. It would be very cool to see the Drow capital city of Menzoberranzan, but it's highly unlikely, for it's not close to the Baldur's Gate area, and I'm assuming Larian is devoting their time to the city of Baldur's Gate. If we came across a Drow raiding party, I'll be very excited, but also understand that my life is probably over. I'll do a separate lore video on Drow in the future. Anyone who does not know the names Dris Do-Erdin, Jarlaxle, or Zach Nafin, get reading. Whether we come across the Mind Flayers as they're traveling from other planes on their ships known as Nautiloids, or ones who have ventured to the surface, I think it's safe to assume that if we do venture into the Underdark, we just may come across one of our psionic friends. And when I say friends, I wouldn't take that too seriously. The tadpole manifested in our character's brain was put there from a Mind Flayer, and well, it turns you into a Mind Flayer as well. Can't say I've had any true friends try that on me yet. Mind Flayers were evil, sadistic aberrations feared by sentient creatures due to their powerful psionic abilities. Encountering them in the Underdark will be a truly suspenseful, horrific experience, but count me in. These Mind Flayers, were otherwise known as Illithids, feed off the brains of unfortunate victims. They were known as tyrants, slavers, and planar voyagers. These alien, humanoid-looking beings sought to expand their dominion over all other creatures, controlling their minds to use them as slaves and devouring their brains for sustenance. Mind Flayers had a wide array of psionic abilities, one of the most used being their Mind Blast, which would stun anyone caught within. You can only guess what happens after you have been stunned, but then again, a lot of you don't even have brains to begin with. I'm just kidding. Mind Flayers could levitate and also detect the thoughts of nearby creatures. They are an enemy we will certainly come across, just make sure you are mentally prepared. Next up is the Beholder, a large unnatural creature who typically has 10 eye stalks and 1 central eye. Do not underestimate these goofy looking creatures, for they are very powerful and intelligent, and their eyes contain magic that you might not want to be exposed to. I have many reasons to suspect that we will come across one or many of these on our journey, and I plan to add one of their heads above my living room mantle. The Beholders were essentially a floating head with 1 big eye and 10 little ones and a giant gaping maw. Don't expect to ambush one of these fat eyeball creatures, because why the hell would you? They have 11 eyes, 10 of which move. The Beholders are quick to attack other creatures not like themselves, as they hunger for wealth and power over others. A Beholder's mind is divided into 2 separate entities. Some Beholders could manage this well, while others go crazy. Their inherently magical abilities make them extremely dangerous, the most common ability being that of them projecting magical power from their eyes. This magical power could charm, petrify, disintegrate, slow, or kill their enemies. Many of the Beholder's central eyes also have the ability to project a field of anti-magic in a cone-like spread in front of them, so it's definitely possible that you might be left without many of the magical resources you thought you were going to rely on to kill them. Just when you thought it couldn't get any better, the Aboleth shows up. This eel-like aberration has, surprise, psionic abilities. Their bodies could reach 40 feet in length, and accompany that with a mouth filled with serrated, jawless teeth, and you got yourself a fight. Their cities were vast affairs of bizarre alien architecture located deep underwater. These creatures, like many others of the Underdark, were extremely cruel, but also very intelligent. Apart from their psionic powers, perhaps their most feared ability is when they secrete a vicious gray fluid on their prey, which transforms the skin of their victims into a water-breathing membrane. Accompany that with the victim's consciousness being turned into that of a mindless servant, and that turns out worse than death. The next creature that we may encounter are one of my favorites, the Hook Horrors. Hook Horrors have a special place in my heart, for I had the pleasure of meeting one called Clacker. Anyone who knows who Clacker is, you better let me know in the comments. Hook Horrors were large bipedal subterranean monstrosities that looked like vulture-like humanoids. They stood around 9 feet tall, with the head of a vulture, neck of feathers, and the body of a beetle. Some messed up shit right there. Instead of hands or claws, the Hook Horrors had a long blade-like metallic hook, which were used as their primary method of combat. A Hook Horror's preferred way of killing was to ambush their victims from above, so make sure to look up sometimes. Although you can't really do that in a more isometric game like Baldur's Gate. Good luck. Now we can't forget the Duergar, which were a subterranean subrace of dwarves. Like Drow were to many elves of the surface, the Duergar are like the evil version of their race. Overall, they were dark and cruel and showed no mercy to their foes. It would be cool to come across and punt some of these guys out of the way, but realistically, it would probably end up in a violent, ruthless fight. Another Underdark humanoid race were the Deep Gnomes, otherwise known as Svirfneblin. They were a subrace of the surface gnome. They were serious and suspicious creatures, unlike their surface cousins who were known for their optimism and cheerful mischief. Their seriousness was warranted, however, for the Underdark is no place to take lightly. Coming across the Svirfneblin in Baldur's Gate 3 is unlikely though, for they worked hard to stay hidden, but it is possible and it would surely bring about an interesting conversation. The last creature we are going to talk about are one of my favorites, and I would be honored to come across one, is the Myconids. These were walking fungus creatures who were known to be peaceful and give shelter or allow passage for those who also had peaceful intentions. A peaceful and kind creature in the Underdark? Yeah, I didn't believe it at first either. It's nice to hear about some kindness going on in this dark place. Although their communal lifestyle and lack of internal conflict makes others think of them as a collective conscience, each Myconid was a distinct individual with their own hopes, dreams, insights, fears, and personality traits. It would actually be really cool to befriend one of these foot funguses. Now, if you have evil intentions, be prepared to experience what their poisonous spores are capable of. But come on guys, let them live in peace. There's still a lot to talk about for the Underdark, but some of it should be a surprise if we are lucky enough, or should I say unfortunate enough, to venture to this area of Faerun. If you guys are enjoying these more lore type videos, definitely let me know and I shall continue to do them. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you guys enjoyed the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. I really appreciate it. It's a huge help to my videos. I do all sorts of content on this channel, ranging from live streams to comedy videos to game tutorials to game reviews to product reviews, etc. I'd love to see some of you guys on a future video. Until next time.